said our podcast is on
Okay.
your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. So,
Okay, great. Cool.
yeah, awesome. Tell me, where were you born and raised?
I grew up in a town up north in California called Sleepy Hollow. Yeah, kind of like a small town a little bit north of San Francisco.
Oh, okay. We're in San Diego, so I was curious. I haven't heard of
Oh,
Sleepy
sick.
Hollow, California. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of small. We don't have like cell reception or street lights or anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up without cell reception or streetlights?
That's cool. I just had to memorize like a lot of home phone numbers, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. Was there music there? How'd you get into music?
So my dad actually he's now a stockbroker, but he plays classical guitar.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, so I kind of always grew up in a musical household. And my brother started taking piano lessons when he was 6 and I was 4 years old. And I saw him playing piano and I really wanted to do it too. And so I was begging my parents for lessons. So they let me start at a really early age.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I've always just been singing too. Since I was pretty much born, I've just been always
Out the
singing.
womb.
Yeah, to an annoying extent. Yeah, and then when I was in 3rd grade, I weirdly discovered poetry and then kind of put piano singing and poetry all together and discovered songwriting and just have always known it's what I wanted to do.
Wow, that's amazing. So 3rd grade, you're putting songs together.
Yeah, I had a 3rd grade English teacher who taught a poetry class after school on Wednesdays, and it was my favorite thing ever. And yeah, she really got me into writing and Mrs. Altschuler. I'm really grateful for her.
Right. That's amazing. That's so cool that especially that your school offered that. I mean, now I feel like the
Yeah,
arts
it's
are kind
pretty
of
weird
getting
to teach
lost.
poetry to 3rd graders, but yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So you knew piano, obviously, in poetry.
Mhm.
Did you start playing, like, did you play in talent shows when you were growing up or anything like that, like at the school?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there was a talent show here or there that I can remember. Yeah, I was always the musical kid for sure. Yeah, especially in high school. A lot of people didn't know me because I feel like I was kind of a loner. I just stayed in the practice rooms every day, during lunch, after school, just writing music literally constantly.
Oh, wow. So you're just at school during the day instead of going and playing on the playground, you're just like, I'm going to go to the music room and write.
Yeah. There was
How
actually
cool.
this class in 8th grade. My friends were just reminding me of this, that in 8th grade you could take an elective and you could either do like, I don't know, a sport, or you could do drama or something like that.
Mhm.
And somehow I ended up in this class where there was no teacher and I was the only one who signed up. And so I found myself as like a 13-year-old just free for an hour every day and completely unaccounted for. And instead of like, I don't know, leaving school and going to like mess around or like causing mischief, I would just go into this like music room that had this rusty old piano and just write music every day.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever record yourself? Like, do you have any of those like early songs?
Oh my God. I'm sure I do. I had this little Tascam recorder that my dad gave me before you could really record things on cell phones.
Hmm.
And yeah, it only had room for about like 12 recordings. And I remember that I would just like write 12 songs. And then when I filled up the recordings, then I would just start delete one and then record another one. And
Oh,
so it was always this process of kind of, I don't know, a Buddhist process of writing music and then letting it go on, you know,
into
it
the
didn't
world.
more. But I also had these binders that were like pretty serial killer-ish of just like hundreds of pages of lyrics. And I also had this notation system for writing down intervals because I didn't know exactly how to make sheet music.
Mhm.
And again, didn't really have a method of recording all the songs I wrote. So starting from like, yeah, elementary school, I'd write down like, if a melody was like da 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 da, I go 5 3 2 3 1, and then write the lyrics that went along with it, and just page after page after page of this like creepy code for all of my songs.
That's cool though. You understood it. That's like
Yeah,
some
I can
crazy.
remember it. If someone looked at it, they'd be like, "What the hell is this?"
That's amazing. That's really cool. With any of those songs, did you, like, when you started getting older in high school or anything, did you form a band? Did you perform at all by yourself?
I would perform. I mean, I was in jazz band in high school,
Hmm.
and um, Yeah, I would perform, with my classmates, and we had a class called performance workshop where we could kind of just have a lot of creative freedom, and I'd perform my original songs, in front of everyone's parents.
That's cool though.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. But yeah, I feel like it wasn't really till college till I started like, actually thinking about putting something out, or doing something seriously. I mean, I always knew that I wanted to be a singer and wanted to be a musician, but
Mhm.
kind of kept it the local level until college.
Sure. Did you go to college for music?
Yeah, I went to the Berklee College of Music.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah, I studied songwriting there, and I was there for 2 years. And then I wrote this song called Break that I actually wrote as a homework assignment in my songwriting class.
Wow.
And
That's
I
I've seen that. I mean, on Spotify, that song has like almost 16 million plays.
Yeah, it's insane what happened with that song. It's actually kinda crazy. So, I wrote it for a homework assignment, and I feel like up until that point, I'd always, I'd written probably, I wanna say hundreds, maybe over 1,000 songs,
Hmm.
at that point in my life, but I never felt like something clicked where it was completely and utterly me. And I wrote
Okay.
Break, and I was like, "This is me." Like, I'd be happy putting this out into the world. I just had that feeling. And so I was like, "Okay, I wanna produce this now," but, it's just a piano, vocal, voice memo on my phone.
Hmm.
And so I DM'd this guy on Facebook, Giulio Ciccato, who's now my main collaborator, and he did Fuck Being Sober and all the songs on
Wow.
EP. But I saw someone post on Facebook, and they were like, "Giulio Ciccato is my favorite pop producer." And so I just sent him a message, and I was like, "Hey, here's a voice memo of me playing this song. Do you wanna produce it together?" And he was like, "Sure." And so we sat in
Wow.
his dorm room for like a year and just tried producing this song. And we really didn't know what we were doing. There were hundreds of vocal tracks. It was mixed terribly. Like, it was just like, we really were just like, "Should we do that? Sure.
Uh-huh.
Should we layer it with that? Why not?"
And he
The
went to the school with
mess.
you? Is that how you met?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we
So
went
you
to
DM'd
college
him on
together.
Facebook, but you both were going to Berkeley at the time?
Yeah, but I didn't know him. We just had some mutual friends, and yeah, I saw his name pop up on Facebook.
Okay.
And so at some point we're like, "You know what? We've been working on this song for a year. We should just put it out." And so
Hmm.
I made a Spotify account and uploaded the song. And then within a couple weeks, it got on the global viral on Spotify and just blew up, like literally out of nowhere.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, I woke up and I had all of these emails. Well, actually, I'd been interning the summer before at Artist Publishing Group,
Hmm.
and I kind of lied and said that I wanted to be an A&R because I wanted to like find out, kind of the
Yeah.
behind the scenes of the
How
music.
do I get in here? Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I wanted to learn the business. And I remember my old boss called me, and she was like, "Annika, why didn't you tell me that you were a singer?" And I was like, "How do you know that I'm a singer?" And she was like, "I'm
Who
listening to
told
your
you?
song on the global viral right now." And I was like, "What?" And I freaked out. And then I had all these emails in my inbox from, labels and publishing companies and management companies. And then that week, I just started flying to New York and LA and doing meetings and sessions, and dropped out of school. And my life changed like overnight.
That is crazy. Do you know how it got onto that playlist, or like how somebody found that? Have you
Well,
ever heard the backstory of it?
I think what happened is that somebody reposted it on SoundCloud, and some
Mm.
German YouTuber saw it somehow, and then he put it in a video. He just made a video, and he was like, "I love this song. Everyone should go listen to it." And I think a bunch of German people listened to it in one day. And so it got on the global viral playlist on Spotify, which allowed a bunch of American companies to see it. I
See
think
it?
that's how it happened.
That is crazy.
Very
That's
random.
really cool. That's so cool. So that was like, yeah, obviously changed your life. Just
Yeah.
putting out that one song. Did you just, well, in your song you talk about you left school, so I'm sure I'm assuming that that happened.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because my mom is actually a college counselor. So I
Oh,
don't know
that's
if she
funny.
ever envisioned her daughter dropping out of
Dropping out of college.
but yeah, it didn't really make sense for me to stay there if my goal was to one day be a part of the music industry, and I started getting these opportunities. And yeah, by the end of the semester, I had showed up to like a couple days of school, and I sat down with my parents at Christmas, and I was like, "I think that I need to drop out." And they were like,
Yeah, you're like, "Ah, I think I'm done with this." Well, it's funny because I've talked to other artists that say the same thing. Like, they get a deal or something happens while they're going to Berkeley, and then it's like, well, why finish? I mean, isn't that the goal? The
"Yeah,
goal of going there would be to get a record deal or pursue whatever you're songwriting. So it's just funny that you do that, and it's like, well, I don't need the degree now, right?
yeah, Yeah, I feel like in some meetings I've had people who are like, "Did you graduate?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Okay, good. Cool.
You're like,
Glad I dropped
awesome.
out."
That must have been really exciting though, getting flown to New York and taking those meetings. Like, tell me a little bit about that.
It was crazy. It was absolutely surreal. I mean, I dreamed since I was like, I don't know, 7 years old of something like that happening, and
Mhm.
suddenly it just happened. It was truly absolutely insane. Yeah, I just had to wake up every day and pinch myself, and I
That is
still
so
do.
right, right.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you went with Epic Records?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, this summer I found my manager, Mike Spitz, who runs Volume One, who's a management company and a record label that's a joint venture with Epic.
Mhm.
And I signed to Mike as my manager, and then yeah, in the fall signed to Volume One and Epic on the label side. And yeah, I'm so happy. I feel like they just really I feel like my music is like quirky and weird and kind of abrasive and just like says something new.
Mhm.
And I feel like Epic just absolutely understands who I am and is like down to embrace even the weirder sides of myself. So I'm really I'm really happy with them.
That's so cool. That's so cool. You're really funny online and stuff. I was dying. Like, like the picture you posted, like people's comment, like the most recent one you did, I was laughing because you had like people talking about your new song and everything, and the last one is like some guy like some sugar daddy or
That
something.
was a surprise to me too. I literally got that message. I'm like scrolling through all these comments and like I'm tearing up and just being like, oh my God, I can't believe that people actually like my music and just like clicking. And then I see one, hey, it's Ashley, or I can be your sugar daddy or something. And I'm
Uh,
like, wow, okay.
I was dying when I saw that. It's so funny. And just some of the other pictures that you post are just they're classic. I just like you could totally it's like you're just so, transparent with your personality. I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal of my project is that I feel like I just want people to embrace like the weird and quirky and like truest sides of themselves. And I know that like, social media as a platform, you can only present really one facet of your life. And of course, there's so many ups and downs that you can't present
Hmm.
on social media, but I try to be as real as I possibly can be.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't that bold, and I appreciate that you do that. I mean, that's really cool that you and that shows that people are actually, into what you're doing and into you as a person. It's so cool.
Thanks.
And I know you've done a lot of work aside. So you put out, Break a few years ago. Now you're releasing another song of you're releasing music on your own. But prior to that, you're doing a lot of collaborating. Can you tell me about that? Like, how did you, I saw that you wrote for like BTS and Jonas Brothers, and you've done a lot of stuff with Millennium. And how did that all kind of come together?
Um, Well, it first came together, I think it was my second session that I ever did in LA was I wrote Crawl Out of Love. And it really quickly got placed. And I sort of thought like, oh, this is how the music industry works. This is so easy because I just got set up in a session with Universal. A couple weeks later, like Nick hit us up and he was like, hey, I want to take it. Can I just keep your demo vocals on it? And I was like, sure. He was like, oh, I'll give you a couple $100 or something. And I was like, hell yeah, cool with me. I'm a poor
Yeah,
musician.
right.
And
Sure, I'll
really
take a
kind
couple
of
hundred
just
bucks.
wasn't, I was so wrapped up in everything and wasn't thinking about at all what it would sort of lead to. And yeah, that song came out, I think a couple months after we wrote it. It was really fast. And I was like, whoa, this music thing is so easy. Then I learned, sometimes it takes years for a song to get cut. And it's just like, a whole crazy process. But yeah, that first song really kind of like yeah, just sort of shot everything off. And then Nick and I started Elenium and I started collaborating a lot more.
Hmm.
um and yeah, I started doing just sessions like all the time. All I wanted to do was write music, and I was writing like 6 songs a week, just writing as much music as I possibly could, and kind of wanting to hone in on my craft before I jumped into artistry. I felt like
Hmm.
break was a really good way to kind of break me into the industry, ironically.
Sure.
But once I got in there, I was like, okay, I think I need to sit back for a second and figure out what I want to say, because, I realized how significant it is to have a platform in music.
Hmm.
And I still felt like I was doing some soul searching, personally and professionally, and trying to find myself and find my sound. And I didn't want to kind of just throw something against a wall to see if it would stick. I wanted to like know what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it.
Mhm.
And I love writing music, whether it's for me or for other people. So I started collaborating with, a lot of different artists. And I think in that process, I was able to find who I am as Annika Wells as a musician. And now I'm at the point where I feel like I've made so many amazing connections and, worked with so many incredible people and sort of established myself on the business side. And now I'm just really, really ready on the artist side to just like put everything out there.
What a way to go out the gate with "Fuck Being Sober." I mean, it wasn't like, it's not like a subtle song.
Yeah, no,
So
it
tell me about
actually
that.
yeah, I feel like fuck being sober is, yeah, it's pretty abrasive, but it's honestly like it's my motto for life, I kind of view everything in this like nihilistic lens that we're all gonna die one day. So like why waste your time doing anything that you don't want to do?
Mhm.
And yeah, the music video too is really cool because again, I kind of want to just show the most honest side of myself. And in the music video, it's just me with my two best friends. And we've always been obsessed with bucket lists. We've kind of used them to like hold ourselves accountable for living life to the fullest.
Mhm.
And we just thought, what, no better way than to make a one night bucket list and just like do a bunch of weird, stupid shit. Kind of get the vibe of
Totally.
fucking sober.
Right, right. That's funny. That's funny. What like, but that's awesome that you've done bucket lists. Like, what different things have you had on there that you're able to achieve?
Well, okay, the first bucket list, I don't know if you know this show called The Buried Life. Have you heard of it?
I haven't
It
actually.
was on
No.
TV like, I don't know, 10 years or something, but we used to watch it as kids and it was just these
Okay.
dudes who all lived out of a van and they just had this massive bucket list and they would just go do like weird stuff and some of it was like helping people and it was really noble and some of it was just funny, some of it was crazy adventurous. And yeah, Kelsey, Amy, and I were just in high school and we were these like super angsty, bored teenagers in our hometown where everything shuts down at 7:30 and we'd have nothing to do. And we were just like, God, like we need something to do with our lives.
Right, right.
And we're like, hey, let's make a bucket list. So we made a bucket list of 100 things to do before the end of high school. And if we wrote
Wow.
something down, we knew that we had to do it. There was no option. And so, yeah, it kind of just allowed us to start living our lives to the fullest and push ourselves to do things that were outside of our comfort zone. And I feel like we've really like helped shape each other's character in that way. That's kind of like my life motto now is that like the best things in life lie at the end of your comfort zone. And I feel like that's also really parallel to my career. It's like putting the truest version of me out there for the world. And if people don't like it, then they don't like it. But
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, I just want to be honest.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Were you able to achieve your bucket list of 100 things, but
We
before you
did.
graduated?
Yeah. I mean, there were trying to think of some of the things that were on it. Some of them were just stupid and embarrassing. Like we poured the Windex out of a Windex bottle and then put blue Gatorade in it. And we went around a shopping mall and we're just like spraying it in our mouths. Or like, um there was a girl in our high school who was going through a rough time. And so we made this huge like I don't know, like 30-foot long sign with like poster paper and paint that just said like it said her name and it said you are beautiful. And then we like snuck to her house one night and just like put it out in front of her house and left it
That's
there.
so cool.
Um
Wow, that was probably that's a moment that she'll never forget. That's insane.
yeah,
That's so
yeah.
nice. That's
It
cool.
was
That's
yeah, it was a
cool.
good mix of kind of yeah, doing things for others and then just doing things to push ourselves. The Windex thing was one of the dumber ones, but I swear there's some cool things on there.
Oh, but that's funny. That's really cool.
Yeah.
What a way to like really set goals for yourself. And obviously the goals that you've set have worked out and you're doing what you set out to do in third grade or when you first
Yeah.
started piano. So
Yeah.
so Fuck Being Sober is out now. Do you have like an EP together? Like what do you have coming out after this song?
Yeah, we have a few singles lined up. I mean, honestly, I have like albums worth of songs right
Right. You said you wrote 1,000 songs
Yeah,
plus.
I can't stop writing music. I mean, we have so much music that I want to put out. We've kind of narrowed it down to an EP, but I
Mhm.
also just keep writing more and being like, oh, I want to put this one on it, this
Sure.
one, so I'm just trying to put out as much music as I possibly can right now
Mhm.
because yeah, it's sort of like how you like puppies better than dogs. I like the new ones better than the old ones, but the old ones are still so close to my heart. So yeah, stuff is definitely an EP in the works soon.
That's awesome. Where were you? So I want to talk to you real quick about where you were when like COVID hit. Were you writing the record that, you know, the EP, or was that something you had finished? Like, where were you at, and how did that affect you?
I feel like I was kind of in a transitional phase when COVID hit where I was still writing a lot for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had these songs for my project, and, I knew that I kind of wanted to start diving in. But I felt like I had kind of fallen into this routine where I was just doing a lot of sessions for a lot of different artists. And I didn't really have much perspective on, where I really wanted my career to go.
Mm-hmm.
And with COVID, I just stopped working. At first we
Mm-hmm.
were like, let's hang out in our PJs and watch Netflix for 2 weeks. This is super cool. And then everything
Right.
went back to normal. And
Right.
then that kept getting extended and extended. And I think that I just wasn't really thinking about working at the time. I was like, this is going to be a nice break. And then when I realized that it was going to be a more permanent thing, I was like, wait, what do I actually want to be working on right now? I just want to be writing music from the heart. And I have some shit that I want to say and I want to say it,
Yeah, sure.
And I feel like it really like it was a moment for me to step back and reevaluate. And I sort of just got this clarity on my career of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just set some goals for myself, and they've they've happened. Then I signed my management deal, I signed this record deal, I started making music videos, putting out my first singles, and I feel like it was really the break that I needed to get the ball rolling on everything.
Mm-hmm. Just having that time to really, you know, set everything up and have it start. With the video, were you able to like that must have been kind of difficult, I would think, to shoot. Was it like COVID tests and all that fun things?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all quarantined, we all got tested, and it was kind of nice because it was like a handy cam style. It was just one videographer.
Hmm.
So we were able to do it pretty safely. I mean, if it wasn't COVID, we probably would have wanted to like go to a bar and make out with 10 people in one night. Obviously, that, none of that was an option, but we came up with some COVID safe things that we could kind of just do around my house and,
Sure.
on the beach. So it ended up working out.
That's cool. That's really cool. And what about like live sessions as far as like live streaming things? Have you done any of that yet?
In terms of like collaboration, I have my one producer, Julio, who I still work with, and Dan Glazer, who's the other producer on Fuck Being Sober. And
Hmm.
we've kind of established like our little quarantine bubble, and we just work out of Julio's studio. So those are the guys I see in person. And as for anybody else, I've just been working over Zoom, which
Hmm.
at first I really didn't like. And now I'm just like, you know what? I miss collaborating so badly that, you make do with what you can get.
Sure, sure, sure. What about like going live on your Instagram? Have you played Fuck Being Sober like live at all or?
No, I haven't, but that's definitely coming. We got some cool content rolling out in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, some like additional music video content and some fun live stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout.
Very cool. I can't wait to see it. And thank
Yeah.
you so much for doing this today. I really
Yeah, thanks for
appreciate it.
having me. This was so much fun.
I have one more question before I let you go. I
Okay.
want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Ooh, yes. I would say that I feel like breaking into the music industry is just about like putting as many feelers as you possibly can out into the universe, and something's eventually going to catch. If you have enough drive and if you're like working your ass off, something's going to catch at some point. I feel like my advice would be to just do the thing that nobody else is thinking of. There is that one thing.
Bringing it backward.